What can you tell me, Robert, about the true nature of the self? Is it eternal?
The true nature of the self is a threefold thing. There's an eternal self in the passing moment. Again, there's an intellectual understanding of spiritual and metaphysical religious truths, and there's the experience of it. There's the direct experience. And so I'm saying that there's an eternal self in the passing moment, and there's a passing moment as a wave on the ocean of the eternal self. And the third thing is that there's a mind. There's a mind or an awareness or a consciousness or a cognition, cognitiveness. There's a pure awareness of both the passing moment and the eternal, all-encompassing, what looks like stillness, but is really a great song, a celestial song, the song of our higher self in friendship with every higher self. And this goes back to the meditation or meditative and experiential understanding that the human nature isn't just physical, emotional, mental, as an ascent of the physical world we live in, but it's also a thinking, feeling, willing as a descent of the higher self, the spiritual self, the Christ self, the God self, the Buddha self, the wisdom, love, compassion, kindness self. But in the soul realm, between physical, emotional, mental, and the thinking, feeling, willing, as an ascent and descent, the soul has a sense of everything and nothing in a mind. It has a sense of the everything that's ever changing in the passing moment, and the eternal self that's a piece of understanding, a piece of the universal. So the true nature of the self is, it isn't just one thing. It's not like you're sleeping or you're all oneness or you're all divided and broken in pieces all over the universe, although maybe physically we are after we die, while our spiritual soul ascends through the planetary spheres and sees the stars as spiritual beings and comes back with a new insight to help the world be a better place. So what's the true nature of the self? Well, Blavatsky has it in the key to theosophy of what's eternal and what's not eternal. And the desire and the fear may not be eternal. But there's something that's eternal called the good, true, and beautiful, Plato calls it. Or the sense of oneness and wholeness and the Father principle and the universal mind of some part of us that looks at everything and understands everything is some kind of seer, as well as the seen and the act of seeing. So this higher trinity of Atma, Buddha, Manas, or in Steiner's terminology, spirit self, life spirit, and spirit human or spirit man. When you say man from the word manas or woman, manas, we're really saying spirit and something that's looking at that. So the eternal self in the passing moment. Whatever you're experiencing day to day, you let your breath go and take a breath into your heart. And you just kind of take a look at your stillness, the one that's still here, the one that goes through the passing moment, the one that is like the thread of the golden thread that goes through the mala or the rosary bead or the moment. And I think that this is, in meditating on this and contemplating this idea, I think you'll have a sense of inner peace and seeing and trying to know, and a sense of outer becoming, inner being, outer becoming, and a sense of like the true nature of the in-breath of the heart. The heart is the middle way between the head and the will, the higher and lower third of our self, body. The heart is the middle way, and when we breathe into the heart, we're like the Christ between the thief and the murderer when they're not behaving. I mean, the thief thinks they steal something, and the murderer lives in pictures rather than reality. In philosophical, Platonic, Neoplatonic understanding, they'd kind of look at it like that. And Buddha is the middle way between everything and nothing, or yin and yang, or day and light, or good or bad. I mean, the tree of life is the middle way that can reconcile the duality of knowledge. So these are ways that we can more experience. We start by seeing it. Plato thought that purification came from just seeing the true nature of the self and the world around us and each other. So that's an introduction. Thank you for asking that question. That's an introduction. Is there a true self? Is there a pure self? I think the pure self is the oneness, and the ever-changing self, it gets stuck and gets lost in ignorant and delusion, ignorance, illusion, maya, and we have to kind of like let go and go to sleep or meditate or go to that deeper place. And there's something that weaves back and forth. The wisdom of the goddess is a weaver, goddess natura, that goes between. The God is a oneness and a pure link up to everything. And the Christos, or the Christ, or the hero, is this weaver of lost worlds with reuniting with the spiritual worlds of truth and love. There's, in H.P.'s Theosophy, the wisdom of God, Theosophy means, she says there is no religion higher than truth. And I think that truth is the stillness that weaves through all of us. That truth will free you, and love will commit you. Love will help you to be involved, and even though it may or may not work, that you're going to try to better the world, bring light to dark places, to encourage other hearts to have light, inner light, and inner knowing. So that is an approach to what is the true nature of the self. The eternal self in the passing moment, and the awareness. If you can keep the awareness and hold the tension of these opposites of something that is forever still until it awakens as oneness and mindfulness of the universal, good, true, and beautiful. And then we have the passing forms that temporarily hold our best. Like when we're in our best moments, we think this is our real self. And we're not in our best moments, we think, oh, this isn't really me. So that is my simple Mayflower Bookshop, Robert of Mayflower, Robert Thibodeau on YouTube channel with songs and talks, and MayflowerBookshop.com, and Mayflower Bookshop in beautiful Berkeley, Michigan. Sharing with you here at the Mayflower with people in the background shopping and checking things out. Bless your heart. I hope this helped you. We'll do more later. Ask Robert, and I'll try to come up with something that we can all research together. As usual, I'd like to suggest that you look at and read and study and contemplate Manly Hawes' Secret Teachings of All Ages and some of his other books and talks, H.P. Blavatsky's Voice of the Silence and the Key to Theosophy, and Rudolf Steiner's Foundation Stone Meditation, as well as The Road to Self-Knowledge, Rosicrucian Wisdom, and check out Tibetan Buddhism, jewelheart.org, Neoplatonism, Alexander Wilder, The Divine Pyramid of Hermes. There's a lot of books that kind of get at this idea that there's something eternal that is in all the passing moments, and that in the passing moment, if we can be still in our awakened heart-mind, the heart and the mind being two wings of the soul, that we can experience directly the true nature of the self in our participatory relationship, joyful relationship with the sufferings of the world and the joys of the world. Blessings.